Let's bring our guy Tone in. We got a lot to talk about, especially after the assassination. Well,
what's going on, Big Sis? How you feeling today, sir?
hey man, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't realize that it would be an all-out assault.
Hey man, that's the legend. That's Angelo for a reason, man. Look, he ain't saying nothing that we don't already know, man. Let's be honest.
So you know what, Tone? This is why you've never look, I know that you like Andy.
He's all right with me. He's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
I'm a
no,
Doug.
but you know what? Angelo makes you think about it when you're more like this. You know what? That's kind of what I really thought about when Angelo's talking. Maybe to not that extent, but I mean, does Angelo, was he right on how a lot of Philly people looked at him?
Listen,
Andy Reid.
I got you. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can only go off of what I heard, right? Living in the city, listening to the OGs talk. That's all I can do. And all I ever heard in the city when it came to Andy Reid, right? Choke artist, doesn't understand how to use a clock. What the hell's wrong with his fat ass? All this kind of like you're hearing all that stuff. Cheeseburger Andy. You're hearing all that kind of stuff. Look, man, Andy is doing an amazing job with the Chiefs. Let's not dismiss that, right? But when you got the quarterback, listen. I'll put you this way: you want to see a Hall of Fame head coach? I'll show you a Hall of Fame quarterback. How many Hall of Fame head coaches got in without a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Only one I could think of.
Right.
And
I'm sure there's a
Joe
couple.
Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple. But when you really dial it back, if a coach is going to get into the Hall of Fame, he has to have the guy. And when you don't have the guy, you look like Andy Reid. You look like Andy Reid for 14 years in Philadelphia. That's how it looks. You know what I mean? That's all. But I think Andy's great at his job, though.
What's that?
But I do think Andy is great at his job. Let me not dismiss his. He's very great at his job. But 14 years, if I'm in a
no, I agree.
You know what I mean? If we're together for 14 years and you still ain't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it. I get it.
It's time for you to walk.
Right. If I'm still talking to Senior after 14 years, I'm in trouble. Hey, Howard Eskin. Biggest Eagle ass kisser.
He messed me up with that one. I was back here cracking the hell up.
I couldn't believe it. Don't put him in there. He's the biggest Eagle ass kisser I've ever known.
I was speechless. Now, I don't necessarily co-sign that, but I was speechless.
Okay, Tone. I think you and me are going to get into it a little bit here.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
I'm sorry, dude. I don't think Haason Reddick is a priority coming back. I just don't at $15 million, man. And get this. First and foremost, let's take this in chronological order. Mm-hmm. Do you think the agent leaked it out, or do you think the Eagles leaked it out?
Which part? The first story or Haason
the story
Reddick?
The story about that's a good call. That's a good call. Did the Eagles first put it out that we've given permission, or was it the agent that said that's a good call? I didn't think about the first part of it.
I think the Eagles put it out first. I think the Eagles threw the first.
And so the second part with the story with the reporter is a retort.
Correct. That's what I think. I think the Eagles threw the first blow, saying, "Hey, we're giving Haason permission to seek a trade." We all knew this was brewing. You and I have been talking about this for weeks. We all knew this. I think you and I were the first people to say, I think Haason Reddick should be put up for a trade.
Me too.
You and I talk about that. Now,
we did.
As a fan, I have my own wants, but when I think about the business and I think about it from the analytical perspective, I had to approach it from a different perspective, right?
Money.
I said on Sports Take earlier, would I love to have Haason Reddick back? Absolutely.
How much?
Yeah, I would. But the number has to be right. And I'm glad we're talking about the money because it forced me to really dig deep after Sports Take, because I had to really make sure I had my numbers correct here. I wanted to compare Haason Reddick to his peers, the people that's currently making either the same or more money than him, right? But I completely ignored guys making $20 million or more. So after Von Miller makes $20 million per year, right? After Von
Miller's a better player today.
No, right. I'm not comparing him to Von Miller. I just want you to follow me here.
All right.
After Von Miller you have Harold Landry with the Titans making $17.5 million per year. That's a new contract he signed a couple years ago. He's 27 years old. He's 6'2". He's 252 pounds. Now, keep this in mind. Haason Reddick is 29, 6'1", 240. So keep those measurables in mind. And he was making $15 million. Harold Landry for the Titans, 27, 6'2", 252 pounds, $17.5 million a year. The Seahawks, Jermont Jones, 27, 6'3", 281, $17.1 million per year. A new contract he signed last year. Eric Armstead, 30 years old, 6'7", 290, $17 million per year. Danielle Hunter, 29, 6'5", 263, $17 million per year on the current contract. His estimated market value is $20 million per year. I could go on and on and on.
He's 33,
I have more.
I think.
Say that one more time.
I think he's 33 also.
Danielle's 29.
Oh, he's 29. Okay.
Yeah. Danielle Hunter's 29 years old, 6'5", 263 as far as his weight.
Man, I like him.
And in 2023, he made $17 million. His estimated market value right now is $20 million.
Yeah,
now we can stop there.
A lot of money.
Right. Now we can stop there. And I'm gonna tell you why we can stop there, right? Haason Reddick and Danielle Hunter are the exact same age, 29 years old, right? Now,
not close in talent, though.
No, I agree. And I'm glad you said that, because over the past 4 seasons, right? Danielle Hunter had 16.5 sacks, 10.5 sacks, 6 sacks, 14.5 sacks, right? Haason Reddick over the past 4 seasons, 11, 16, 11, 12.5. Now, here's the main difference between the two. Here's why Danielle Hunter is worth more than Haason Reddick, because of the size. When
he's
you're
6'5", right?
He's 6'5", 263 compared to Haason Reddick 6'1", 240. That's why his market value is what it is. If Haason Reddick was any bit taller, any bit more weight on him, I think his market value will be significantly higher. Teams want those big bodies, those prototypical bodies at the edge position. Think about this. Josh Sweat, he's about 6'3", 6'4", weighs about 260, 270, something like that. He's around there, maybe 250. But my point is, again, his market value is 21.5, which is higher than Danielle Hunter's. Now, the only reason Josh Sweat has a higher market value is because he's younger than Danielle.
And he does more.
So again, my point in saying all that is, although Haason Reddick may want $20 million, the market is telling you that's not the case because of the limitations with his size. Yeah, Haason Reddick is one of the.
I don't think it's the size.
It is though.
It's his limitations on his ability.
I can go on and on.
I don't think he's very good.
He's significantly.
It's an abortion on covering. It's an abortion on covering tight ends or backs for him.
He's significantly undersized at the position. Every name that I've gone down, and I've written down many more.
Tight ends own him
because of the size. He has no size. He's 6'1", 240. When you go down some of the top edge rushers in the league, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260, 270. He's so undersized at the position. These organizations are saying, okay, what happens when the speed goes? The speed is going to go before the size goes. The speed is going to go before the power goes. And again, comparing him to a guy like Danielle Hunter, who they've had similar production over the past 4 years. But the bottom line is they value Danielle Hunter more. Why?
Well, what's TJ Watt's size? Isn't he 6'2"?
TJ Watt is currently.
Is he 6'2" or is he 6'4"?
TJ Watt is 6'4", 252. Okay. Miles Garrett is like 6'4", 6'5", 275.
I think he's 6'5".
You know what I mean? So when you look at Haason Reddick in the vacuum, you say, wow, he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. But then when you zoom in, you say, well, he's 6'1", 240. And do I really want to put 20+ million into an undersized edge rusher? And I think that's what the disconnect is. And I personally think he's being properly paid, personally. But when you look at the production, some will say otherwise. But when you think about the size and the fact that in run defense he has his limitations, how can I justify paying him north of $20 million?
Let me show you how I think, and tell me if you agree or disagree,
Right.
and how you think the conversation went.
Right.
Because it's funny how it's being reported versus how these conversations start. To me, the agent probably came to them and said, "Hey, we're entering into our final year.
Mhm.
Where are you guys?" And they probably wanted to start talking about extension before he heads into September. And so the Eagles came back and said, "What are you thinking?" Well, we know he's competitive on the open market with his production. And what they did was they went to production right away, which for production, he is in the group
Right.
when it comes to the sacks, the double digits, and all that. So he's got a leg to stand on there with that. Now,
Right. But that's his
they're
only
gonna
leg. That's his only leg, the production.
That's right. And so the Eagles came back and said, "Well, we're thinking of an extension, but we're also thinking of restructuring." And that's when it probably made them pause when they said, "Well, is this with more money?" And I personally think the Eagles said no. And we'll give you the money like they did with Slay. They lowered the base, they lowered the money, but gave him the bag. And they were hoping he'd bite on it. This is Reddick's last contract. So he's like this. No way. I think I can get more on the open market.
Right.
Calling
Now,
their bluff. So they said,
right.
"Well, I'll
I
tell you
agree.
what. Then you could go out and seek a trade partner to see what your market value is." In theory, that's telling them, hey, they're basically saying, because they initiated it by calling the Eagles, "What are you going to do?" Because that's what agents do.
That's what I think happens.
Anybody entering their final season, they want to know where a team is because they don't want their player going in on a lame duck year.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I think. I think the conversation went exactly pretty much how you said it. I think the agent reached out saying because they've been talking about this since last year.
Absolutely.
Since last
Remember when
offseason.
he said something in camp?
Yep, last offseason. I honestly think the agent went to him and said, "All right, where are we in this process?" The Eagles went back and said, "Listen, this is where we think he's valued at. This is what we're willing to pay." And the agent and Haason obviously didn't like that number. So I think the Eagles said, "Look, all right, this is what we'll do. We'll give you permission to seek a trade." Now, if you notice, the words matter. They gave permission. If you notice, Haason Reddick came out saying, "I didn't ask for a trade." That may be true. You probably didn't ask for the trade.
Technically.
Right. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, he'll go wherever the bag goes. So I think the Eagles said, "Look, we'll give you permission to seek a trade. As a matter of fact, you go out there and you tell me what his value is. And whatever you come back with, then we'll have something to talk about." Because I think, like you said, and we talked about this again, we've been broaching this for a while. Everybody else is catching up. I think they're calling his bluff. And I think they're saying, "Listen, you're not as valuable as you think you are. We're not against paying you, but we're not going to pay you north of $20 million because that's what he's looking for."
I'm not paying him north of 15.
He's not going to get north of $20 million. As of right now, just based off of the people who've gotten paid close to his age, based off his measurables, based off his production, he's actually getting paid accordingly. You can make an argument he could probably
get
maybe
his limitations. You could make an argument he's overpaid. Tones, he can't cover. And get this, why, if you know he can't cover and you have a scheme where you're asking him to cover, like if you were lining him up, Tone, and you were just telling him for 65 plays to pass rush, and he was on, say, San Francisco, probably fits perfect. But when you've got so many holes on a football team, like the Eagles do on that side of the ball, and you need a guy who could be a stand-up, put a hand in the dirt, cover a back, cover a tight end, he's not worth that money, man. He's a liability on that defense. What did 12 sacks mean to you last year? What did 12 sacks mean?
Here's the thing.
Nothing.
Edge rush. Here's the thing. And this is where we got to be honest. Edge rushers come at a premium. Edge rushers are very valuable right now.
Yeah, when you
think about that whole defense wasn't impactful. I feel like it's easy to say he wasn't.
Why should I pay him?
I understand where you're coming from. I'm not paying him $20 million. I'm not doing that. But I definitely think he's worth in between 14 and 17. I think he's worth that because of the production and because of the group he's in. See, you got to think about the people who's getting paid around him. That's the reality. We talk about it all the time. I know you hate that line of thinking because
I hate it because that's not my priority. Paying an edge rusher,
right?
That doesn't bring me shit.
And I don't think that's their priority either. That's why we are where we are now. I think they want to restructure, extend, and give him money up front so they don't have to elevate that salary.
You think I don't think that guy's better than Chubb.
No, of course not. But again, Bradley
he's going to be asked to do the same shit Chubb did in that Fangio Dolphin defense.
I hear you, but listen to this. Bradley Chubb is making $22 million. I'm not comparing him to anybody in that $20 million range at all. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying he's even close to that. I'm comparing him to the people that he's actually produced more than, but from a measurable standpoint, they're bigger than him. So again, when they're judging that edge rusher position on the market, they're looking at your age. They're looking at your age. They're looking at what you're anticipated to do. They're looking at your measurables. Are you undersized? Do you fit the prototype of the position? So for me, based off everything that I've analyzed, based off all the people that's in his bracket, which is the 17, the 16, the 15, the 14, the 13 million guys, he's produced significantly more than most of those guys. Now his measurables, that's where he loses. And I think that's why he doesn't qualify.
His sacks had no impact on the Eagles.
At the end of the day, I understand what you're saying.
Did they?
But it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter.
Well, then why pay it?
What do you mean why pay it?
Right. Why not go and I'd rather give that money to a corner in Denver and go give that money to a guy and try to bring that guy in.
Let me make my position clear, because we talked about this. Do I think the situation gets figured out and he stays in Philadelphia? Yes. Am I against trading him? No. I want to make my position very clear. I'm simply laying out the lay of the land.
Yeah, but you want to give him 18. I'm not doing that.
No, I don't want to give him anything. It ain't my money. I'm simply laying out the market. That's all I'm doing.
He's not as good as any one of those players. He's not. He is a one-trick pony. If you took the pass rushing away and you took that dynamic away from him.
But in this new NFL, the pass rush is so valuable.
But why are they dropping him then?
That's a Matt Patricia question. Because I would never drop Haason Reddick. Never.
Gannon dropped him too.
He had 19 and a half sacks. I mean,
you know why? I'm going to tell you why and I'm going to tell you again, this goes into what, somebody was having a conversation with me about Josh Sweat and why he's your most valuable asset on your defense. Josh Sweat had now down numbers. Why? Because Brandon Graham shit the bed. The other guy on the other side of the scale wasn't balancing it. And everything, when you take all that production away, bang. Reddick couldn't pick it up. He had no impact.
Well, I'm willing to argue this. Who was behind Haason Reddick? Who picked up Haason Reddick's slack? Nobody. Haason Reddick led the D-line.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith was a non-factor. Come on.
Was he? Oh.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And you
heroes drafted him in the 31st pick.
And I understand what you tried to do there just now. But the fact of the matter is, Haason Reddick had nobody behind him that was worth a shit. And he came out there, led the D-line in snap count, and gave him 11 sacks on a bad defense. So again,
what was your pass defense? 27th? Okay.
Am I sitting here? See, you're trying to blame one guy for the deficiencies of an entire team.
No, I'm trying to tell you that it's about the matter is not about one guy.
And I understand that. I'm not making it about one guy. What I'm trying to indicate to you is
18 million reasons you are.
The lay of the land is where his value is. See, here's your problem. You hate the new dynamic of the contracts. You hate this whole market value. You hate all that. Even, especially when it comes to the quarterback position, you hate it. You hate the fact that you have to pay a guy based on the market. You don't believe in that.
I don't.
And I respect that, right? But at the end of the day,
City Chiefs don't.
Say it again.
Kansas City Chiefs don't pay market value for anybody.
Who's their quarterback?
Oh, and okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
When you had Patrick Mahomes,
pay market value.
They're not paying the court. Wait, what do you mean they're not paying market value?
Well, they don't have any superstars on that football team right now. They got rid of 2.
As a matter of fact, no, it's right here. I don't have to look it up. It's right here. Money. No, you're good. Rashawn Gary is making $24 million a season on the D line.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Oh, hold on here. What are we talking about? Name somebody on that offense that's making over $15 million.
They can afford to pay that.
Oh,
they can afford to pay that.
So you think the Eagles can afford to pay a guy $18 million as a defensive end when you got the worst pass defense and you had the worst defense from week 10 on? And you
I don't.
What?
No, I don't. But what I'm saying to you is based off the market. See, here's the thing. This is where you got to hear me out here. This isn't about what the Eagles are willing to pay. This is based on what the market is saying he could potentially be worth. So if the Eagles are not going to pay him, somebody going to bite and give him that money.
Go have it. I want to see him play him.
And that's my point.
And that'll be the 5th team he's been on in how many years?
My overall point is the fact that the lay of the land, based off his production, and again, his measurables prevent him from being a $20 million guy. That alone. Beyond that, based off the production, I also think he's limited in the run game as well. Let me not overlook that. I think he's limited in the run game. I want to make that clear too. But I also think he's limited in the run game because he has no size. Arms are short, not a big body, can get swallowed up can easily get swallowed up by tackles in the run game.
Kittle crushed him.
Right. You chip him in, it can make things real rough for him.
You think Fangio is involved in this?
That's a good question. You think already he's
you think he's kind of influencing him after watching the film going, because that's a pretty ballsy move for the Eagles to do that with a brand new coordinator rolling.
That's what I'm saying. You think already?
I don't know how much influence. I'm just saying, don't you think that him coming in watching film, he would do this? This guy struggles, and I need a guy to cover people out there. I need a guy to cover, and he can't. And look at the tight ends, turn them around almost every time. And guess what? You got a bunch of tight ends you're playing this year coming up. Look at that schedule.
Let me ask you this. Do you think your average edge rusher is keeping up with these tight ends?
Phenomenal question.
These tight ends are faster, they're bigger, they're longer, they're more talented than ever. Could your average edge rusher?
The argument they're the second most important player in an offense, excluding the quarterback, to the receiver. Maybe in some cases even more, because in Kansas City and in Baltimore, to some extent, when Kittle's healthy, those guys. Hey, how many times did we say in Philadelphia, just to get the offense going, they got to establish Goddard?
Right. And we talk about all the time how that linebacker position is so limited with guys who actually can cover.
It's totally limited.
So here's the thing. I know we talk about how
there's like 5 guys in the league that can do it.
I'm glad you said that. And this is where I got you. Do you think Haason Reddick is the standard or an anomaly?
So the grasshopper goes again.
That's all I'm saying.
So the student one-ups the teacher.
Is he the standard or the anomaly?
So you're going to pay $20 million for the standard on a defense that needs more holes fixed than what you have. He's not the priority.
So I'm not saying he's the priority. I don't want that to get mixed up. I'm not saying he's the priority. But so far, based off these checks that's getting thrown around here, I mean, a lot of these teams are paying for the standard because they're so. Matter of fact, perfect example. Matt Milano. Let me show you this.
The guy in Tennessee making 17.
The guy in Tennessee, Harold Landry. Harold Landry at 6'2", 252. He just signed that contract. Let me see here. Also, Matt Milano, right? He's an off-ball linebacker.
Is
right?
that the Buffalo kid?
Buffalo guy. He's not a pass rusher, though. He's not a pass rusher, but he's an off-ball linebacker. He's an overhang player. Right now, his average salary is $14.1 million. Now, granted, he's coming off of an injury, but his contract doesn't expire until 2027. I think Matt Milano is one of the best linebackers in the league, one of the only linebackers that can cover. How much is he getting paid?
That hurt Buffalo in that Kansas City game, him not
and
being
guess what?
there.
And it hurt their pass defense. Matt Milano is only making $14 million a year, and he can cover. He can't rush the passer. He can cover. You got guys that can rush the passer that can't cover making more than him. You see where I'm going?
Well, here, let me
they
ask you
put
this.
more. The
If
league
this guy's so valuable, all these players that you name aren't on multiple teams.
That is true.
Why is he the only guy that's in that category that has been on 3 different football teams in 4 years? He's been on 3 different teams, and I'm going to tell you, they have a hard time figuring a position out for him.
You want to know why?
Because he's limited.
Because he's undersized.
He's limited in many ways.
He's 6'1", 240 when the prototypical what's the size of a prototypical edge rusher to you? I say 6'5", 6'4", 260, 270.
I want a guy like Myles. I want someone in the room like Myles Garrett's stature. I want it to look like that. I want it to be like him. I want that look. Myles Garrett's look. That's what I'm kind of looking at.
Myles Garrett, 6'4", 272. You think his heavy ass is keeping up with these tight ends?
I think they're asking him to do different things.
I think he's a better run defender than Haason, a better pass rusher than Haason. I feel like he plays the gap better. I feel like he plays the gaps better than Haason. He's a better player than Haason Reddick. It's not a question. Myles Garrett he was defensive player of the year for a reason.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But when I think about Myles Garrett, is Myles Garrett more valuable? Is Myles Garrett more? Oh, matter of fact, this is where we are here. This is Myles Garrett in pass coverage in 2023. Did you know Myles Garrett in pass coverage was only targeted one time through 17 games? That tells you he's not back there. He's not back there.
He's not. They're not using him that way.
They're not using him that way, and he's getting paid. And he's getting paid.
Reddick is used more like Michael Parsons is.
But he shouldn't be, because Michael Parsons can actually move around and cover, and he shouldn't be used like that. Oh. And that's my thing. Michael Parsons, I'm willing to argue, is an anomaly. Remember,
I would tell you this. I would rather spend the money on Chase Young and move Reddick and bring that guy in on a lesser dime and have more money to move around and maneuver around with linebackers and safeties, because I have a feeling. Now, look, I think as the season went on, he started to become more productive in the playoffs and at the end of the year with the 49ers. And I think he was coming on. And I tell you what, they had no answer for him in that Super Bowl. And to me, he played in the division also.
Yeah.
I think he can do more. I think he can cover tight ends. I think he can play the run. I think he can pass rush. And he's cheaper.
He's cheaper.
And he's younger.
I agree. He's cheaper, and he's definitely younger. You know, my mindset is this. You know, I'm thinking about the entire defense, right? And, you know, again, I just want to make sure my position is laid clear. I'm simply just trying to lay out the lay of the land when it comes to what these guys are getting paid.
You're higher on Reddick than me.
Oh, yeah, I am. And I mean, that's fine. That's where we disagree. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. But you know, when it comes to the I've already mentioned that I wouldn't mind trading him. Now, of course, my fan side says, Haason Reddick, all those sacks, how do you trade that? That's the fan side of me, right? But when I look at the business, when I look at where the Eagles are financially, when I think about that cap hit, when I think about all those things, when I think about all their needs, I'm saying to myself, this may be a necessary evil. They may have to think about trading him so they can create some cap space, get some draft picks in the process. This is the part where I'm glad I ain't got to make these decisions.
What do you think his market value is?
Who?
For when it comes to draft picks.
Oh, wow, that's a good question.
What do you think a team is going to surrender a guy that's limited?
Okay, who has the money? Let me see.
Here, wait, Tone. Let me do this to you. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. The Lions have $45 million. Could they be in a win now? Put him on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson?
Right.
Here's the team I think. How about you put Haason Reddick on the other side of Will Anderson down in Houston? They have $60 million in draft picks off the Deshaun Watson deal.
And also, Will Anderson is still in the rookie deal, so you can probably make that work.
Okay, and get this, D'Amico Ryans is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a defensive-minded guy who could put him. Would you move him there? Hey, since what's his name, Gannon had success with him, would you talk to how about this right here? You know that Buda Baker dude?
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Would you package something up? Now he's going to command money. Would you package something up? Make them restructure a deal for Baker? Send Haason to the Cardinals. And here's what you can watch this here, man. Here's how the Eagles can get a second and maybe a 1.
Right. Watch
this. But it'd be a high 1. So check it out. I'll tell you what. He's going to command $20 million. We'll send you Reddick. You pick up the majority of his, because I think he's making a ton of money now, too.
Who, Reddick?
He's got a big cap hit, Buda Baker.
He's due to make 15 million a year, 15 million exactly, but his cap hit is larger than that.
You pick up this year half that salary. You give me a 2 for him, and I'll send you Reddick.
I think that's the only way the Eagles can get a high draft pick. They got to pick up some of that salary. That's the only way, because here's the thing.
Cardinals have to pick it up.
Right. Well,
the Cardinals have to, because listen, you're not going to do this. I'm going to trade a guy for $15 million and send you Haason Reddick.
Well, let's talk about the cap hit.
Straight up deal.
Right. The cap hit is $21 million. So let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So trade a guy with and this is where it gets hard for the Eagles.
You can restructure that. You can restructure that contract.
You can't. No, you can. But here's the thing: when you trade Haason Reddick, not only do you have to find a team that has the money, you have to find a team that's also willing to pay him.
Does Arizona have money?
Arizona has. Yes, they have 44.6 million.
Oh, dude, they got the money, and they got the money and the player you need.
Right. So.
He's my second target in the offseason outside of Surtain.
Right. You had the Eagles' challenge is finding if their desire is to trade him, right? Their challenge is finding a team that's going to pay him and that's willing to give you the draft compensation you're looking for. That's going to be the challenge.
Gannon knows how to play him.
Right. But will that GM be willing to give up the draft compensation and pay him? That's the conundrum.
See, so you have to find a team that thinks he has that value.
Yes, exactly. In other words, you got to find.
Will tell him he did with me. He had 19 sacks with me counting the postseason. He was a game wrecker in the NFC title game, and he knows how to pass rush the 49ers.
That's an option. It's an option.
See how you make this work with them. You call them and say, listen, I'd like to do a trade here. Send Haason Reddick to you. You pick up $7 million. You send me Buda and a 2.
Buda a 2 for Haason Reddick straight up?
Oh, and the money.
Oh, so
they got to pay the money.
Right. So exactly. So what I'm saying is, so basically what you're saying is, if the Eagles are going to get a 2 and Buda Baker for Haason Reddick, the Eagles have to pick up part of that contract.
No, Cardinals do.
But why would the Cardinals pick up the money and give you the pick and pay the player?
Because
they're losing.
They want to unload him. You're again, you're getting a player that's less money than him, but that, like you said, is a premium. He's a pass rusher. Safety's not, but
Right.
that's a need on the Eagles. So you go to them and you say, hey, look, they want to trade him, Tony. They want to move him because of the cap hit. They want to get out from that deal.
Buda Baker.
Like you said, he's in the Haason Reddick position. There's going to be a team that wants that skill set, that it fits on their team. What you do is you go to them and you say, I'll tell you what, I'll take the player off your hands. I'll send you Reddick. You send me a 2. And you pick up half the contract.
Here's the tough part. Are the Philadelphia Eagles willing to pick up a $19 million cap hit for safety?
The Eagles have to wait? You're right, Tone. I got it back. Eagles have to send them a 2 and Reddick, and then pick up the money and Baker back.
Right, but here's the thing: though.
That makes more sense. You're right.
Yeah, are the Eagles willing to pick up a $19 million cap hit for a safety? Is that their mindset? Like, let's think.
It?
It's possible. But I think Buda's looking to get paid. So you have his average salary. Okay, his average salary right now is 14.7. Do you see the Eagles paying 14.7 for safety?
Nope.
He's trying to get more than that. And he's arguably the best in his position.
How old is he?
28.
No way. Forget it. I'm out. No,
so this is a much harder transaction than we think. I think they're better served restructuring Reddick, extending him maybe a year or 2, and giving him a bag of money at his feet. That's what I think.
How about sending them to the Patriots? Patriots want to spend, and Jared Mayo said they're going to spend some money, and they don't have that, and that's kind of a guy that fits up there into what they're doing. Could you see something like that?
All right, so the New England Patriots have 69.8. Why does it seem like they always got money?
Always. Because they don't pay anybody.
Yeah, that's true. 69.8 million in cap space. That's an interesting proposition. The Patriots are going to be high on the draft board too. That first round pick is too valuable.
No, not doing that.
They're not doing that.
If you sent him to New England, would New England give you
their high second rounder?
It's too high. I mean, if they're in the if their number is like 39 or 40 in the second round, there's not a chance in hell. That's close to a first rounder.
Exactly.
Yeah, how about this? Reddick and Judon, like Yale just said, as your edge rushers in New England, chasing down Josh Allen, that might be something you're interested in.
It would be. It would be. Now, what would the Eagles? The Eagles would want something for that, obviously.
Oh,
the Eagles are going to.
I would want it too.
Right. Do you see?
But I don't know if New England is going to surrender
a 2.
Would you surrender a 2 for him if you're New England? You know, New England's desperate for talent. So you're talking to the right team here. Mayo's got to make a splash, and they got to keep that defense. You know, they weren't horrible on defense last year.
Do you see New England paying Reddick $15 million?
They spent a lot of money since Brady's left. You know, watch this. 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, they spent something like, if you Google it, Tone, I think they spent like $300 million in free agent salaries like 2 or 3 years ago. They've spent money.
Right. They spent right. And also think about this, right? As of right now, they're paying Matt Judon $13.6 million per year. Right. Now he had a down season in 2023, but in 2022, he had 15.5 sacks. 2021, 12.5 sacks. 2026 sacks. So he just signed that contract a few years ago. He signed that contract in 2021. So as of right now, they pretty much got a lot of production out of him for a cheap price at 13.6 million. The hard part is about this situation is the Eagles and Haason Reddick's representation or more notably, Haason Reddick's representation. Because remember, let's not forget the Eagles side of this thing, right? The Eagles are saying, hey, we want you here, but it's not going to be at the number you're thinking. I think the Eagles are fully comfortable paying him what he's making now. But I think he wants more, and that's the problem.
Restructure to get that base down.
And that's what the Eagles are trying to do. The Eagles are trying to restructure, get that base down, and maybe give him some more, guaranteed money up front and extend him. But here's the thing.
That's where you lose me. I'm not doing that with the money. I'll tell you what I'll do, Tone.
But remember, it's about the cap. Remember, it's about the cap hit. It's always about the cap hit, not the guarantee.
To make you feel better, say you're the player. Right. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you. We're going to give you $15 million or $14 million. Here's a check for $14 million, but we're going to lower the base. But I'm going to give you the guaranteed money up front.
Right. And I think that's what the Eagles are trying to do. I think that's what they're trying to do.
I think they're balking at that.
Exactly. And that's why they're saying, okay.
And that's why they floated this smoke signal out.
Exactly. The Eagles sent the first shot. And then Haason Reddick's representation said, hold on, wait a second. This is our side of things. So right now they're playing chicken.
You think the Eagles insulted the Reddick camp with the contract structuring that they want to go to, and that's why they floated that story out? And what I mean by insulted, not horribly, like, this is what we want to do. We want to lower the base, and we want to give you money up front. Personally, I think they offered him the Slay deal.
I was literally about to say, historically, the Philadelphia Eagles, they do a very good job at restructuring contracts and lowering your base and making sure you got your money up front. They do a very good job of that. But here's the thing.
Yeah, because because the player's going to go, you mean to tell me I get a $14 million, $15 million paycheck tonight, direct deposited in my account versus sitting around waiting for it? Shit.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Like you said, Haason Reddick knows this is his last big deal.
Last deal.
He wants more than just that money up front. And Haason Reddick, listen, it's really simple. Haason Reddick wants north of $20 million. And he's not getting that.
Plus, if it's New England, he's out of the conference.
And he's out of the conference. I think they do. I think, and again, I don't think they want to trade him, but they're more than willing to. I think that's where they are right now.
I think they want him on their terms.
Yes. And that's exactly where we meet. I think they want him on their terms. And Haason Reddick is saying, hold on, wait. I've given you back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. I had 19.5 last year. I had 11 this year on a bad defense. I was the only bright spot, so to speak. And this is what you're offering. And the Eagles are saying, well, hold on. Yeah, you did put that up, but we also have to base it off of what you're going to do. And here's the thing. Here's the caveat. Whatever new contract he does sign, it's going to take effect when he's 31. Who's paying a 31-year-old undersized edge rusher $20+ million? Nobody.
Let me show you something here that lets you know that the Eagles laid the law out to him on what they're doing. Did they come to Jordan Mailata and restructure his contract? The Eagles went to him and did it, right?
What
was that, 2 years ago they did it? I thought 2 years ago they went to him.
Wait, are you talking about Lane or are you talking about
Mailata? I thought they went to him and redid his deal.
I'm not entirely sure. Oh, you mean the extension and all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, that happened in 2020. That happened the all season 2020.
And restructure his deal?
Oh, they've restructured Lane so many times.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
So here's where I'm going here. Didn't they go to Goddard? And
they
got anything going, they gave him a deal before, right?
Yeah, this is what they did. They extended Mailata, Goddard, and Sweat and Avonte Maddox all in the same season. They got ahead of the market and said, all right, we're going to give you guys all this money up front. Because
if I'm not mistaken, they did a lot of that during the year.
They took care of
Goddard during the year.
Goddard during the year. They took care of Avonte Maddox during the year. And they took care of Mailata in the offs. Mailata was the first one to get money, first one to get paid. But based off Mailata's production, he's underpaid. Okay. But we'll get there when we get there.
But let me say this to you. If the Eagles were so gung-ho on him, wouldn't they have given him, say, by the way, since by week 12 of this year when they were 10-1, Don't you think the Eagles, knowing Howie, the way he operates, he would have got ahead of it instead of waiting to the offseason?
You're talking about
And
Reddick,
said,
right?
here's your money. Here's your extension. Here's some more money. Don't you think he would have did it then like he did it pretty much for everybody else?
Absolutely, but here's the
Well,
difference.
they didn't want to do it. And I don't think
here-
they really knew they were. That's why they drafted Nolan Smith, was to get him out of there.
Exactly. Now we're talking. I firmly believe their game plan was we signed Haason Reddick to this 3-year deal. They ended up drafting Nolan Smith, and they wanted to have foresight. Their plan was draft Nolan Smith. That can be our transition from Haason Reddick. If he tries to come to us in negotiations and tries to twist us for more money, at that point we can use Nolan Smith as leverage. This is what they didn't account for. They didn't account for Nolan Smith being a dud in year 1. They didn't expect that. So that threw a monkey wrench in their plans. So that actually gave Haason Reddick a bit more leverage. But the bottom line is this. This is the bottom line. They didn't draft Haason Reddick. They drafted Mailata. They drafted Goddard. They drafted Maddox. And they knew, and they drafted Josh Sweat. They knew those guys, the money was only going to get higher. They got ahead of them. They got ahead of Mailata's market. They got ahead of Dallas Goddard's market. They got ahead of Josh Sweat's market. That man is worth $21.5 million right now, and he's only making 13.3. And he's 26 years old, 25 years old, something like that.
I know he's your highest valued defensive player,
and he's actually built like a prototypical edge rusher, the type of edge rusher that teams aren't afraid to pay big money long term because of the body type, the measurables, the skill set.
I bet you anything. Vic Fangio walked in there and said, "I'll make Nolan Smith a player." And watch this. I guarantee you, he said, "I'll put him in a position that Patricia and Desai couldn't. I know how to use him. Get rid of Reddick."
He probably,
now,
I
that's
wouldn't be
probably
surprised.
too strong. But could you see Vic saying that?
I could definitely
He's
see Vic going there and saying,
guy. I'll tell you what, I'd like to work with a 4-3 guy who's got that kind of athleticism too. I mean, dude, 4-3, 4-4, setting the edge for me, coming off and humming off that corner. Why can't he do the same shit Reddick can do if I put him in a position? I'm brought in here to fix this bitch. Also means, hey, you know how Kellen Moore has been brought in to fix Jalen Hurts? How do we know Vic hasn't been brought in to fix Nolan Smith's ass, get Jordan Davis's ass going, and fix that linebacking? I mean, he's got jobs individually in that building.
Absolutely. That's very reasonable. I think Vic was brought in here to really maximize all those guys that they feel like they wasn't getting a lot of production from. I just don't think, I think when they look at Haason Reddick, they say, "Look, we like you, but we don't love you like that."
Yeah,
I think that's the problem.
I think they like him 15 million reasons.
Exactly. I think that's where they feel comfortable paying him 15 million, and they don't want to give him anything more than that. I think they might even budge at 16, but I don't think they want to give him north of $20 million.
Not when I got so many positions to fill.
And that's the thing. The Eagles got so many
money. So
they got so many things to take care of.
Resources. And you're going to give him an extra $1.5 million when I could take $1.5 million maybe and parlay that into a restructure to get a safety or linebacker. If you pay him, Tone, you're going to battle, in my opinion. Let's just say we do the 18 million. I'm not saying you're off base.
Right.
Okay, I'm not. I'm saying, but if you pay him 18.5 million on a restructure, shit, you're going to work with what you have at safety, corner, and linebacker this year, and what you have on your roster and what you draft. And that ain't enough.
Even if you find a way to lower the cap hits?
With who?
You're talking about Reddick, right?
Okay, you lower the cap hit. 5 million? Okay. You got to remember this. $18 million of that 20 million goes to your draft.
Right. They're in the tough position. And I think the Philadelphia
Eagles,
Eagles
in the draft.
And I think yes. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles, although they, in my opinion, I think they hold the leverage because I'm looking at the market right now. I think they hold the leverage, but at the same time, they don't do themselves any favors missing in the draft the way they did.
If you trade him, you get $15 million added to your cap.
I hear you. I hear you, man. Like I always say, there's two sides of me always competing, right? My fan side.
You know why?
My fan side likes Reddick. Say it again.
You hate the money.
Yeah, man. Why can't this be like Madden? It's easier.
Why can't this be like college? You know what I'm saying? Why can't this be like college with the money? Dude, the money sucks. But you see, this is why the league loves parity.
But the money makes it interesting. The money makes it interesting, does it not?
Oh, it's like stock. It's like, you know
it's chess.
Do you know what it reminds me of? When I was a stockbroker on Wall Street. And I worked on Wall Street, and you have to worry about dividends, and you got to worry about what fold it's going to go up and how much of your investment you're putting in. Are you going to put 25% in your annuities? Are you going to put them into long-term investments, short-term investments? This is exactly like the stock. It's like the stock market, man. And that's why Howie doesn't really hit on a lot of his stocks. They go belly up, and he gets penny stocks. Doesn't get the OTC stocks, over-the-counter stocks. He doesn't invest in like waste management for sure things. Okay. The guy may not be the best, but he's there 17 weeks. He may not be the best edge, but he's there 17 weeks and he gives you production.
And that's why Haason Reddick, he looks at it like this. I don't miss games. I give you production.
That's a really good one.
Haason Reddick hasn't missed a game for the Eagles. Not one. He doesn't miss games. He played on a bad hand. Still got
and he had an impact play in the NFC title game.
So it's like, when you see, I understand why Haason Reddick wants what he wants, but at the same time, in this situation on this team, that's not happening. That's how, and it's nothing personal. It's simply on this team, that number you want does not work, and they have too many needs. Why? You know how many teams offload big money players if they're not competing?
All the time.
The Vikings are considering trading Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, because do you hear what I said earlier in the program? I was like this. I went, you're going to pay $30 million to a guy that'll never deliver you a Super Bowl. See, this goes to your Reddick conversation. Well, it's market value. He's the best receiver in the game. How's that helping Minnesota get closer to us? He gets you further from a Super Bowl. Do you understand that, Jefferson?
Right, and that's why I don't think Haason Reddick is going to get the number he's asking for, because
if they build your football team from the perimeter out in.
Exactly. So that's why I look at Haason Reddick and I say, look, I love everything he brought to the table. I still do. I would love him in the building, but the number got to make sense. And based off the way the Eagles moving and the way his team moving, there's a disconnect between what they're offering and what he wants. I think he wants like around 21, 22. And I think the Eagles are saying, whoa, we'll budge to 16, but
better go play with Gardner Johnson, because that ain't happening here, man. I mean,
and here's another thing we got to keep in mind. They still have his rights. So regardless of what goes down, they still have his rights, and they have to decide that they're going to trade him. They got to still greenlight the deal.
I want to take you slightly off the topic, but in the same vein here.
No problem.
Would you pay Jefferson $30 million?
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. Knowing how great.
Do I have a quarterback? Do I have a quarterback?
No.
Do I have an O-line?
No, you have the Minnesota Vikings right now because Cousins is out of there. They're not paying him.
Oh, so you're saying if I'm the Vikings, do I pay him?
Yeah, right now, with the current way the Vikings are.
I can't.
Or are you trading him to get draft picks?
I can't. No. He's great. He's spectacular. He's a multi-time All-Pro.
He wants $30 million.
He's not getting that from me. It's that simple. The Vikings are nowhere near a Super Bowl. Nowhere near one.
It moves them further away.
It moves them further away. Financially, at least. Like their offensive line, putrid. Defensive line, Danielle Hunter was the only bright spot. Marcus Davenport, I mean, they signed him on a 1-year deal. But other than that, I mean, okay, you know what? This is why I trade him. You want to know why? You want to know why I feel comfortable trading him? And I'm not saying this player is on his level. I'm not saying that. But this is why I trade him. For one, I'm nowhere near winning a Super Bowl. So why am I paying a wide receiver $30 million if I'm not even in the playoffs? That's one. For two, I got Jordan Addison who came in while you were away and gave me gave me over 1,000 yards, I think, receiving. So in my mind, why pay you $30 million when I got this young guy over here that's already shown that he can produce without you? See, it would have been different if Addison was playing next to Justin Jefferson and Jefferson was taking attention away from him. Addison did most of his damage when Jefferson wasn't there. So I feel comfortable making that move. Will it be a fan favorite? No. But I'm nowhere near a Super Bowl. And you want me to pay you $30 million? How can I justify that?
Okay. If that was the
to sell
reverse
jerseys
thing going on, and see, get this. So you're okay with trading the best receiver in the game, but you're not okay. And I'm not saying you. Some people are not okay with having a conversation about AJ. Come on, man. This is about getting you closer to the bowl. This ain't about getting you closer to anything else. What helps you get to that point? And by the way, could you imagine if the Minnesota Vikings traded that guy to Kansas City this offseason?
Don't say that.
Don't say that. You see him? Because they restructure what's his name's contract and land on Jefferson.
Don't give them any more ideas, please.
Could you imagine that guy land? How about this? Texans got $60 million. You drop that kid down there with C.J. Stroud on the other side of Nico Collins. See, I think Minnesota's in a tough spot here, man.
They are in a tough spot. They are in a tough spot.
I mean, like you said, well, Sills. And this is what you say all the time. Sills, it's market value. He's the best player. You got to pay him the 30. I don't know.
Situations matter.
He ain't helping me.
That rule isn't just a one size fits all.
It's not a blanket deal.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Listen, the market. The market
earlier. Okay, I was checking on you here. I got two things I want to go over you with before
you. Let's do it. Let's do it.
These are my final top 10 teams and quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to do teams first. You tell me if you disagree or agree. And to my disdain, I did something, but I can't dismiss something.
Okay.
I'll make sense of it. I got the Cowboys 10th.
10th best team in the league?
Yes.
Okay.
I got the Eagles 9th. I can't dismiss 11 wins. Even though I think you have a trash defense.
Mm-hmm.
I put the Bucs ahead of them. Now, you could flip that.
Easily.
And put Philly ahead of Tampa Bay. But if you go by the two games, Tampa Bay looked better.
Wait, you're comfortable putting the Bucs ahead of the Cowboys?
No. Yes, I am.
That's interesting.
Because I saw Green Bay take them apart.
Okay. That loss did a lot of damage in your eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
And you lost the coordinator.
Good call. Good call. Because we have no idea what Mike Zimmer's going to do.
Absolutely not. He's been out of the game a bit.
That's a good call.
Okay. And you're $14 million over the cap. Who's leaving?
I'm glad you said that. Did you know DeMarcus Lawrence is entering a contract year?
He's out.
That might be a restructure or a cut.
Yeah. They're not paying a quarterback. That's the problem. I'm not paying a guy $30 million and moving further away from the bowl. I got Green Bay 7. I got Houston 6th. I got Buffalo 5. Detroit 4. Baltimore 3. San Francisco 2. And Kansas City 1. So just to refresh. Dallas 10. Philly 9. You know what? I'm going to change that. I'll put the Bucs at 9. And I'll put Philly at 8. So Dallas 10, Tampa Bay. Now again, Tampa Bay is going to look different too because they're losing Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And Devin White's probably gone.
Didn't they lose a coordinator?
Yes, he's the head coach of Carolina.
So we have so they're losing Mike Evans, and we don't know what the OC is going to do with their offense.
Yep.
And they lost Ryan Jensen, their superstar center.
Yeah, and Antonio Whitfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Antoine Winfield is a free agent. So their defense took a hit. They lost their best player on defense. They lost their best player on offense. They lost their best offensive lineman, and then they lost an OC. Are they really top 10 still? And we don't know what the quarterback is.
No, you talked me out of it. I'm going to put Seattle there. Way to go, Tone. So I'm going to go like this. Dallas 10, Seattle 9, Philly 8, Green Bay 7, Houston 6, Buffalo 5, Detroit 4, Baltimore 3, San Francisco 2, Kansas City 1.
Okay, KC 1, San Fran 2, Buffalo 3, Detroit 4. Okay. I actually like this list. Like completely top. I actually like this list.
Who do you think wins a Super Bowl, or who do you think puts his team in a Super Bowl quicker, in a position to be in a Super Bowl? Jordan Love or Stroud?
I'm gonna say Love. You wanna know why? Because Love is in the NFC. Stroud is in the AFC. He got to go through Lamar. Got to go through Patrick. Got to go. He has a lot of he got a lot of demons to slay before he get to the mountaintop and save the chick from the dragon.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Whereas the Jordan Love, he already smacked the hell out of Dallas. They came this close to beating San Fran. They should have beat San Fran. They should have, but they didn't. So we can't change the narrative.
Let me
I just believe Love has less barriers to entry than CJ Stroud does.
Let me ask you this. I left Cincinnati and Cleveland out.
I just realized that. Yeah,
listen to this. Cleveland, it has to be a nightmare with this whole Deshaun Watson deal.
Absolutely. So far, they have 2 botched seasons. 2. You might as well say they burnt money for 2 seasons straight.
I mean, dude, you gave $100 million to a guy who gave you nothing.
They burnt $100 million in 2 seasons, Sills. They burned it alive in a trash can.
Dude, you've played 7 quarterbacks in those 2 seasons. And you've had nothing but bad pub. I mean,
meanwhile, Stefanski is still winning double-digit games.
Here's the reason I left Cincinnati out. Hey, Joe Namath Burrow.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's,
man.
Yeah.
You got to start.
I get it.
Okay, you got to start showing me you can get through a season here. It can't be one on, one off, one on, one off, one on, one off. Hey, and I get it, man. Get this, Tone. He's a gifted player.
Absolutely.
But you know what? You want to hear something? He's as detriment to his team as Deshaun Watson is. It's just different situations.
Listen to this. So, Joe Burrow's been in the league for 4 years, right?
Wow.
In 4 years, right? He would have played 67 games if he was fully healthy. He's only been available for 52 of them. He's missed 15 games.
Almost the whole season.
He basically missed a whole season of his career. He's one of these older young guys. He's 27 going on 28. Only been in the league 4 years. Do you think the health gets better or worse?
Worse. How about
he's
this?
Not even dual. He's not even dual threat. He's in the pocket.
He's gonna have a shorter career than Hurts.
You can argue that. You can definitely argue that. He's had more significant injuries.
He surely missed more games than Hurts.
Yeah, he has. Hurts has only missed
since he's been a starter.
Since being a starter, Hurts has only missed 4 games.
Okay.
3 due to injury, 1 because they sat him and they couldn't do nothing about the game. It was they sat him. No, the seeding was already locked in. So he missed 3 games due to injury, 1 because they sat him because it was the final game of the season.
Okay. You good with that list?
I actually like that list a lot.
All right. Last list before I let you go here.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 quarterbacks. I'm sure you're going to disagree. Number 10, I got Stafford, Rams. Number 9, I have Goff. Number 8, Jordan Love. Number 7, I have Tua. Number 6, I have Stroud. Number 5, I have Purdy. Number 4, I have Dak. Number 3, I have Allen. Number 2, I have Lamar. And number 1, I have Mahomes. And for the record, I got Jalen at 11.
Mm. All right. So I would put I think you have Goff too low. I think Goff.
You think I have Goff too low and maybe Dak too high?
I think Dak is too high. I think Goff is too low. I think Love is only showing you 1 season, and you're already putting him above Jalen Hurts.
Well, shit, man, your guy got paid after 1 season.
But remember, I'm just going off of your rules.
Okay.
You don't just throw guys. You don't crown guys at the 1 year. That's you.
Yeah.
But I understand the way he beat them Cowboys really did a lot for you, and I get it. And I like Love, actually. I think Love is really on his way. But
give me your top 10.
Jalen hurt himself a lot with them turnovers. He hurt himself a lot.
And that stretch run. And a playoff game.
Because Stafford elevated himself during that final stretch. Love elevated himself after that final stretch.
And in the playoff game.
What's your criteria? Are you just going off of recent, like what they've done recently? Or
23-24 coming out of that year.
Okay, coming out of the 23-24 season,
yes,
then
coming out of that year.
Okay. All right. Then I gotta put Hurts 10. I can't leave him out of my top 10. He was a Pro Bowler. I mean, Stafford didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Baker Mayfield made the Pro Bowl. Gardner Minshew made the Pro Bowl. Come on, man.
Okay. All right, listen. Hurts had a better record than Stafford. He had more touchdowns. I think he had more total yards.
Baker Mayfield outplayed Jalen.
Baker Mayfield's not on your list though, so we can't talk about him.
Yeah.
Jalen beat Stafford earlier this year. He beat him. Jalen beat Stafford. Jalen beat Dak. Jalen beat Mahomes. Jalen beat Allen. Jalen beat Tua. I understand things went south.
Zach Wilson. Jalen lost to Drew Lock. Jalen lost to Tyrod Taylor.
This is the NFL. People lose. It's the
Those
NFL.
guys aren't on my list either, right? Yeah. You think he had a top 10 season?
The turnovers, it's hard. I'm not justifying the turnovers. I want to make that clear. I am not.
And a stretch run, Tone.
Okay, listen. I understand. I understand where you're going with this. But like you said,
hey, watch this. Do I think Lamar Jackson was a top 10 quarterback last year? Shit, that guy wasn't a top 15 quarterback.
All right, let me ask you this then, right? How do you have the Eagles as a top 10 team, but you don't have their quarterback as a top 10 quarterback?
Because I can't dismiss the stupid 11 wins. And that's a unit thing. That's not a quarterback thing.
And didn't you say they got those 11 wins because of him? You said that on this platform. You said that.
I don't remember.
You said that. Hey, live chat. I need your help here. He said that.
I don't remember.
He said
no,
that.
I said they won them because of Sirianni. I said they won those 11 games because of Sirianni.
Hey, look, I'm just
All right,
trying,
I'm done with this chat.
I'm just trying to hold you accountable. I'm just trying to hold you accountable.
Okay, you beat me today. I've had enough of it.
Oh man.
Hey, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
good job, man. Holy
Brian's
cow.
funny. Look at this, man. Brian's hilarious.
Dan pleads the fifth. Hey, what do you think? I'm Hunter Biden? Come on, Brian.
Oh my God.
Pleading the fifth.
But I do like your top 10 teams list, though. I think that's very strong. Very strong. But I just look at it.
The 11 wins.
Yeah, 11 wins. He beat most of these quarterbacks that's ahead of him. Well, not most. He beat Stafford. He beat Tua. He beat Dak. He beat Mahomes. He beat Allen. So he beat about maybe 4 guys on his list, I think.
Yeah, he beat Stafford. He beat Tua.
1, 2,
he beat
3.
Dak Prescott, Allen.
He beat half your list. He beat half your list. Granted, the fall was bad, but that was a team fall, right?
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on, wait. No,
half this list and lose to half the list of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
But listen, you're giving more credit to the team.
Yes, I am.
You're giving, but you just said this team is not even a playoff team.
Yes, I am giving more credit to the team. I'm a team guy.
But there's no defense there.
Okay,
there's no defense.
And I hate quarterbacks. Okay,
there it is. Dan said he's on record.
Gator sniffing GM.
Oh man, you got to put him in the top 10, so you got to.
Man, so you're going to put him in the top 10 over a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Oh, here we go. You said off of last season. Now you're talking about 2021.
All right, it's time to get the hell out of here. I'm finished with this.
Oh my God, y'all hearing you guys? This is insane.
Hey, wait a minute. I got to leave you with this though.
All right.
Howard Eskin is the biggest ass-kissing eagle. Hey, yeah.
Yo, Angelo was 1 of 1. He's 1 of 1, baby.
Hey, congratulations to you. Well done today. Thank you very much,
Tone. Man. I appreciate you.
You got it. That's our good friend, Tone. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.